Welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to explore a pretty fascinating thought experiment that was published back on May 4th, 2026.
Yeah, by Jerry Bourne.
Right. Also known online as the Millionaire Educator. And, we're looking at his post called In Search of Missing Fortunes. But really, this deep dive is completely tailored for you, the listener, because we're going to look way past all the dry financial concepts.
Oh, absolutely. The goal is to uncover this awe-inspiring aha moment about the true power of time, compound interest, and those invisible deductions on every single paycheck.
Yeah, we've all had that moment, right? Like maybe you start a new job or it's just a random Tuesday and get your pay stub. You look at the top line, the gross pay, and you're like, okay, not bad.
But then you see the net pay.
Exactly. Your eyes travel down and it's the great disappearing act. You see FICA, Medicare, Social Security. It's like this tiny, bureaucratic vampire is taking a bite right out of your money before you even get to hold it.
Yeah, and we all do that what if math in our heads. Like, what if I actually got to keep that money?
Right. What if I could invest it myself?
Yeah.
And today, we are looking at a guy who actually ran the numbers on that exact question.
Jerry Bourne. And, Jerry isn't writing this from some stressful cubicle while worrying about a mortgage.
No, definitely not.
He's actually living this very relaxed FIRE lifestyle, financial independence, retire early down in San Luis Potosi, Mexico.
Just filling his days with naps, working out, eating amazing food.
That sounds terrible, right?
Yeah, awful. But about 12 years ago, right around his 50th birthday, he got curious. He started this spreadsheet to see what would happen if the mandatory Social Security and Medicare taxes that he and his wife Zena had paid over 45 years.
If all of that had been invested in a basic S&P 500 index fund instead.
Exactly. So I have to ask, how does running a 45-year retroactive calculation completely shift our perspective on this money we never actually touch?
Well, it's wild because he basically built a parallel financial universe. He took his actual real-world payroll contributions over the decades and generated these numbers using Grok.com to calculate everything.
AI tool, yeah.
Right. And we are establishing the baseline of this missing fortune. Jerry's lifelong out-of-pocket Social Security contributions, if they had just been sitting in the S&P 500, would be worth $527,000.
Wow. And his wife Zena's.
Her balance would be $533,000.
Okay, wait. I need to jump in here because that is the wildest detail from the source. Zena actually contributed $18,000 less out of pocket over her entire life.
Yeah, $39,000 versus his $57,000.
Right. But her final hypothetical balance was $6,000 higher. I mean, it feels like our brains are just broken when trying to understand a 12% annual return over 47 years. Why are we so bad at comprehending the math of decades?
Because we think linearly, like you put more apples in a basket, you should have more apples. But Jerry's core motto in the text anchors this perfectly. He says, time in the market is more important than timing the market.
It's like planting a tree. Zena planted a cheaper seed, but she planted it way earlier.
Exactly. For instance, in the 1970s, Zena's tiny $35 contribution, just $35, grew to over $7,000.
Just from $35. That's insane.
Right. By investing early, she literally bent the math in her favor. The compounding snowball eventually gets so huge that the size of the initial contribution almost doesn't matter anymore.
Okay, so just between the two of them, they have over $1 million in this parallel universe.
Mm-hmm.
That is already a massive what if. But then we hit the plot twist.
The massive blind spot in the math.
Yes, the employer match.
Yeah.
Because we only see the 6.2% that comes out of our side of the paycheck. Right?
Yeah, the employee only pays half the tax. The employer matches it with another 6.2%.
Making the true total contribution flowing out of your employment 12.4%.
Exactly. So when Jerry doubled their numbers to reflect this, the total missing Social Security fortune jumped into the stratosphere.
It went to $2,121,756.
Over $2.1 million.
Generated from a mere $95,000 in combined out-of-pocket employee contributions. I mean, if a forced 12.4% savings rate creates multimillionaires out of average workers in a spreadsheet, is the real lesson here that we drastically underestimate what boring consistency can actually do.
I mean, yes, boring consistency is a superpower, but to be completely objective here, as Jerry points out, Social Security is a federal social insurance program.
Right. It's not a personal investment account.
Exactly. It provides a foundational safety net. It operates on a pay-as-you-go model to keep citizens out of poverty in their old age. not to act as an inheritable IRA. So it isn't designed to build personal wealth.
Yeah.
But the math of his thought experiment absolutely proves the raw, unstoppable power of a steady 12.4% investment over a working lifetime.
Okay, so we've tackled retirement income, which naturally transitions us to the other major payroll deduction.
Medicare.
Right. Because anyone looking at a pay stub knows you can't talk about aging without talking about healthcare. Jerry applies the exact same compounding logic here to Medicare Parts A through D, which covers people 65 and older.
Yeah, and the deduction is smaller there. What if the 1.45% employee tax plus the 1.45% employer match went into a health savings account?
An HSA, yeah. Fully invested in the S&P 500. Jerry's total would be over $300,000, and Zena's would also be nearly $300,000.
Creating a missing Medicare fortune of almost $600,000.
And the irony is, having a fictional $600,000 would eliminate almost any medical financial stress in retirement.
Oh, completely.
But since we don't have that fictional money, how does Jerry's real-life HSA show the listener a practical way to replicate this math today? Because he actually did this right.
He did. Jerry already knows the power of this. Back in 2013, he opened a Real Fidelity HSA alongside a high-deductible health plan.
And he's been funding it ever since.
Yeah, treating it just like a mandatory payroll tax. And it has already grown to over $140,000 completely tax-free.
That is just wow. Can you break down why that's so powerful? I think a lot of people just use an HSA like a checking account for copays.
That's the mistake. The expert strategy contrasts the pooled risk model of Medicare with the individual empowerment of an HSA. HSAs are literally the ultimate stealth retirement account because they are triple tax advantaged.
Meaning what exactly?
Meaning, first, they are tax deductible when the money goes in. Second, they grow tax-free. And third, they allow completely tax-free withdrawals for medical expenses.
You dodge taxes on the seed, the growth, and the harvest.
Exactly. It's essentially legally opting into your own parallel universe.
Okay, so let's add up all this missing money to reveal the grand total. We've got the $2.1 million from Social Security plus the $600,000 from Medicare.
The combined poof money.
Yeah, the parallel universe fortune is $2.7 million.
That's a lot of vanished wealth.
It is. And honestly, if I ran those numbers for my own life, I'd probably be furious. But Jerry is not bitter at all.
No, not at all. He's actually celebrating his 29th anniversary at Las Vegas in Merida, Yucatan, while writing this.
Living his best life. And he pivots this fictional lament into some highly actionable, empowering advice. His ultimate takeaway is that if you hate the system or feel it's outdated, the best revenge is to stick it to the man by fully funding your own accounts.
Right. Your HSA, your IRA, your 401k or 403b, a 457, and regular brokerage accounts.
I love that empowering reframe. Instead of complaining about the 7.65% taken out of your paycheck, you aggressively fund the accounts you do control. So is the ultimate takeaway here that we should treat our own personal investment accounts like a mandatory payroll tax?
Yes, that is the exact core lesson for the listener. Think about the discipline of the payroll tax. It's automatic. It happens before you even see the money.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine if everyone simply saved 15% of their paycheck from age 18 to 62.
Just replicating the combined employee and employer contribution.
Right. The government programs exist to keep society from falling through the cracks, to provide a floor. But if you want true wealth, if you want to reach the ceiling, you have to be the architect of your own parallel universe.
You have to force the deduction on yourself.
Yeah, you automate it. You direct that capital into growth vehicles that benefit your own household directly.
Wow. Okay, so let's quickly summarize this incredible journey. We started with a simple pay stub deduction, and we ended up realizing that just $95,000 in out-of-pocket contributions could theoretically snowball into a $2.7 million fortune.
It really is a mathematical proof of concept.
So, to you listening, the next time you look your paycheck and you groan at those deductions,
Which you will.
oh, guaranteed, but try to see it as mathematical proof of what your own automated, consistent investments can achieve over the next few decades.
It's the blueprint.
It is. But before we head out, we want to end with a provocative thought drawn directly from a detail in the text.
Yeah, Jerry mentions a stark reality about the system.
Right. He mentions that unlike an IRA, Social Security balances cannot be left to heirs. There's no generational wealth transfer there. So I want you to ponder this.
It's a big what if.
Yeah. If you live to be 100, a pooled social safety net might be a fantastic deal, right? You keep drawing checks. But since none of us actually know our expiration date, how does the inability to pass on this invisible $2.7 million fortune change the way you think about building inheritable generational wealth with the money you actually control?
It definitely reframes the purpose of those personal accounts.
It really does. So leave that to mull over the next time you get paid.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.